be opening up in 10 minutes time, but just before that, speaking of human rights, staying with the theme of human rights, we have another question here about 65.6 million forcibly displaced people, of which 22.5 million refugees and 10 million stateless people. Can you shed some lights from your jurisdictions on their specific needs? And I would also add on to that and be interested in how your particular jurisdictions really take the time to focus on these particular populations, should they be relevant to your own jurisdiction.
So in my country, we have few cases, but so far, again, it is like a priority program, right? What is the urgent action that we need to be done? In terms of the refugee, government just put the basic need currently, provide the shelter, food, clothes. That's what we've done so far. We haven't touched about the financial things to them. That's what we've done so far. Unfortunately, some of the refugees creating the new business and provide the money exchange. That's what they done so far, formal ways. So for us, we only monitor it, what happened on that business activity.
Does anybody else want to jump in on that one? Okay, so we've got one more here related to arrangements that can be made to set up an offshore company in your respective countries for helping money transfers. Is that a possibility?
In our case, since the rule-based country, everything should be here, should be in Indonesia. You should have the local entity, 100% currently, for the set up the fund transfer business.
Yeah, same here in Thailand, because we concerned for the consumer protection, because otherwise if something happens and then they're gone, so we have to bear the cost for those customers.
And to avoid money laundering as well.
Yes, of course.
I think in our case, of course, we have some kind of arrangement, because as I said earlier, we have migrant workers in some in Thailand, some in Korea, and some in Malaysia. We have some cases in Korea where the company who transfer the migrant worker to Korea, they create like office there and have the remittance to send the money back home. So this kind of arrangement is allowed because it's under it's a separate institution, which we have a separate institution in Cambodia responsible for collective issue with regard to the remittance, not only the central bank, we have a Ministry of Labor. So they are allowing the company who's sending the migrant worker to foreign country to open the remittance corridors there and sending the money back home. As for the payment service provider or bank, we haven't come to this point yet. We need to study more whether the case can be done or not. But we open for discussion if there is a need from the financial institution or the providers.
Thank you. So we've talked a bit about this technology bloom, the startups, the innovations that are all coming into this space. And of course, it's highly decentralized. There's the latest startup coming from anywhere and everywhere consistently. And my question to you is, with the rise of the startups and technological companies providing all these different business models and innovation and remittance products that are taking up a lot of your time as regulators, and rightfully so, do you find that there's a need to protect incumbents, local players that provide these conventional remittance products? What do you see as sort of within that space in terms of competition? Ricky, you have the mic. I see you already eating it up, so go ahead.
Okay, we also embrace the innovation, So last year we set up our fintech office as well. At the same time, we also introduced the fintech regulation, especially in the payment space, and also introducing the sandbox regulatory. Since our country, again, this is the what I call it, a rule-based country, so the same play. However, we invite them, not only the fintech, but also the incumbents. Please do join with us. We can discuss it. And we have the evidence. 2013 we conduct the pilot project. We invite the telco and non-bank player to do the same thing. That's what we've done so far. And the next, we believe we should guide them to increase their capability, how to set up the financial or payment service capability. That's what we've done so far.
So on your questions, whether we need to protect them, for the Thailand, in my personal views, I think that actually there's no need for us to protect the traditional FT player. However, I think that also realize the cost of investment that the current player previously invested, and hence I think that we're supposed to have some kind of flexibility for them to adjust their service accordingly. And for example, let me give you an example. We may let the newcomers into the market with some limited scopes at the beginning, and or maybe with limited channels of service, depending on the tiers of the capital that we may introduce in the future. And for the current service providers, I think that we may relax on the scopes and threshold, but however, in the future, I think that the gap between the newcomers and also the current players must be narrowed by time. And also on your questions whether the tech room might be supportive to the remittance service, I think that most tech rooms service providers normally they prefer to connect to people online with the concept of anytime, anywhere. I think that hence they can offer the user experience that suits to the current tech savvy of the new generation. As a result, I think that the cost of transactions may come down since they don't need to have many branches to connect to their potential customers. And additionally, I think that in the final, they can bring down the whole market fees in general. And I think that given the technology that they employ, I believe that they can use the data from all those transactions to enhance the customer journey to the new chapter of the remittance service.
Thank you, please.
I just want to add that the reason, as for the case of Cambodia, the reason that we keep on improving our regulation as well is to promote regulation, to promote competition in our market. And as to our case, whether it's a fintech company, a new tech company, we tend to open the door for them. What we do in our case is that we don't regulate technology itself. We regulate the service surrounding that technology. So as long as they can comply with our requirements, whether they are the conventional remittance company or the other fintech company, we are quite welcome to them.
And look, just in the interest of completeness, I'll jump in there. In the Australian context, I mean, I won't jump to the need, but there is no protection for locals. Essentially, it's market driven, so if you're eligible to register, you can enter the market, and we don't regulate that perspective apart from if someone's, for example, breaching a different rule such as a price fixing or cartel conduct. But in terms of there's no protection, so from that end, the success or failure is generally going to be driven by essentially what the remittance providers are giving to their customers in Australia as a service.
One last sentence about the fintech. We think we cannot see from the competition point of view. I think collaboration is the perfect word for them. So we can bring them mass customization, collaborate between the incumbent and the fintech, and grow together. That's I think the perfect way.
That's a beautiful sentiment for the afternoon, to grow together in partnership, well-balanced, perfect ecosystem. And I'd like to thank you for your questions. I'd like to thank our panelists for the wealth of information. I've learned a lot from you and from the questions. I encourage us all to continue the conversation over lunch. And with that, our time is indeed up. So thank you very much, everyone. And I wish us all a wonderful evening or afternoon. Sorry, jet lag.